And now I invite Dr. Shailesh Mehta ji. Please.
Greeting you all through first my outer eye or a relative eye. I'm using the word eye because I'm an eye surgeon. So when I look and greet you with outer eye, honorable chair and co-chair, all respected dignitaries and my friends, evolved souls and evolving souls in the beautiful journey of leading towards the truth and ultimate bliss. And when I look through inner eye, I can see a source of pure conscious, a source of infinite knowing power, infinite seeing power, and infinite bliss which I bow to, and that gives me the experience or feeling of oneness with utmost humility. So with that opening remarks, in this age of bullet trains and supersonic jets, let's cruise slowly and quickly through this wonderful journey of our inner world. So my question to my younger friends is, who drives us? How we are being driven? Our life, living, personality, behavior, reactions, responses, whatever. What is more important, the world outside us or the world within us for my success and failure, for my happiness and unhappiness? And if the answer is the world within me, then my next question to myself is, for most of my life, my focus, my efforts, my energy, is it directed to the world outside, knowing, researching, managing, taking care, or the world within me? So what did the enlightened ones do about this thing? Their focus was inside. Be it Mahavir, Buddha, all our ancient rishis, or Dada Bhagwan, in the present time, they had the primary focus on the world within. And yesterday it was well mentioned that Pinde Subrahmande. So if one is researched or has discovered the world within, the universe is open to them. And even the Ralph Waldo Emerson, because we want to be holistic, he also said what lies in front or behind us are tiny matters as compared to what lies within us. So taking a moment to connect it with the modern science, because I always firmly believe that this is the present time where everything should be scientifically connected. So yesterday Dr. Rajiv Bhatt aptly mentioned that body-mind-soul connection has been accepted by medicine. The negative attitudes or the negative things, if I am angry over you, if I have hatred, will affect not only my mind but body as well as consciousness. It can lead to diseases, positive can cure the diseases. So this is just to show you how the mind through brain can be connected to the body through the various body machinery systems. I'm not going into detail, but I want to draw your attention to one wonderful finding. Bruce H. Lipton, a cell scientist, he's expert in cloning, came out with a wonderful finding after 25 years of research that our beliefs do affect our cells and genes of the body. If you change your beliefs, you can change the cells and genes of the body. So a new science came out like epigenetics. So everything is interconnected, and there are so many other findings like thoughts are real things which can affect the physical outcome. Our rishis had told that. Now the scientists are trying to prove that. Now leaving you over there, now I come to the subject proper of the holistic science says that I perceive the outer world through the five senses. The things go inside, and before it gets converted into action, reaction or response, there is some filter in between, which is vision or belief. So if my vision, understanding or belief is incorrect, the machinery remaining the same, everything goes in the southward direction. If my vision, belief or understanding is correct with the same machinery, everything else with the correct results. So this is the first fundamental principle of the holistic inner science which Dada Bhagwan gave to the world. Simply, nothing much is to be done. Incorrect understanding and wrong beliefs will lead to all the puzzles. Right understanding and correct beliefs will resolve everything. So now answering the question, who is driving us? We need a good driver in a car. So here the primary answer is my relative inner self or antaskaran. But well, that is not only enough. Relative antaskaran, which comprises of mind, reflective consciousness, intellect and ego. But they say we are not only primarily responsible. We are under the influence of beliefs and opinions which we are harboring. So they say we are also not primarily responsible. You have your intents, motives or aim. Everybody of us has come to the conference. Has everybody come with the same intent? No, people have different intents. Somebody wants to watch the Surat and have some shopping. Somebody wants to have some grants from the university. Somebody wants to share the knowledge. And subtly, there are inner weaknesses operational within me, which is influencing my every behavior, anger, pride, greed, deceit, attachment, or aversion. So here inside, when I dive in, it is a state of being. The whole world talks about meditation today, and that's good. But the Vitarags or the enlightened ones take you to the journey further, that it's a continuous state of being with open eyes 24/7. Every human being is into one of the four states, Artha Dhyan, Raudra Dhyan, Dharma Dhyan or Shukla Dhyan, and I and my, and ultimately, all right? Thank you very much for the feedback. So here, the aspiring or the inquisitive souls will look into how the karmas or the conscious and matter interact with each other, and ultimately, who am I, or awareness of the pure self. So we'll try to touch upon these stations in whatever given time, and whatever will be left over, we have arranged the round table on the 6th, a wonderful round table with my good friend Dr. Paneer Selvam, who is the secretary of IPC. We will have it over there. So inner self-functioning, mind, reflective consciousness, intellect, and ego works like a parliamentary system. So the mind shows you one thought. Yesterday, many delegates asked me, can we go to the Surat Bazaar? I said, the mind started showing, what should we do? So I said, it is not the time, the shops will be closed. So mind will show you the other option. Similarly, mind will show you options, should I attend the session? Should I move outward? And ultimately, the parliamentary decision will come. So first thing happens within before the things happen outside. And if nothing is spoiled or shaken inside, nothing will be spoiled or shaken outside in the world. So what is mind? The eternal questions with the mankind, my mind wanders, my mind roams. How can I control my mind? Should I or can I? People try to slow or stop down the unwanted thoughts. I have heard and I have been told many times that try to reach in a meditation, a state where the mind is quiet, thoughtless. All right, sir. But is it really a state of meditation? Again, another further question, is a mind responsible for bondage and liberation? Gita says, mana evam manushanam bandhana moksha karanam. So is it really primarily the mind which is responsible? So let's try to see the answers from the holistic perspective or the holistic science. Holistic science says we have two minds, gross mind or discharged mind or dravyaman, and a charged mind or causal mind or a subtle mind. Most of the things we'll talk about the gross mind. So how does the mind function? So mind is a completely physical thing. This is the most revealing statement from a holistic scientist, Dada Bhagwan, that it's a physical thing, it works like a machinery. So it tells me that it goes on showing me the thoughts after thoughts after thoughts, relevant or irrelevant, liked by me or not liked by me. And I don't know, but the manufacturer has conveniently forgotten to put a stop or a pause switch over there. So it is made up of the complexes or the nodes. If I study my mind, I know what type of complexes I have got. Somebody will have always thoughts of businesses, even though there is a loss. No thought of service. Somebody will have never a single thought of doing a business in the lifetime. Similarly, every walk. So if I draw the graph of my mind within a week, I'll know what kind of mind I have. How to manage my mind? Especially, people try to stop the unwanted thoughts, but often they do fail. Because mind is a physical, non-ending, continuously ongoing film. So how should I manage? Agree with the thoughts in line of my aim or goal, which are in my self-interest. Allow others to pass away. I'm not worried about how many cars are going from this road. I'm only concerned if my friend comes in or if I'm connected to. So ignore other thoughts. If they're more bothering, change the track. If there is a noise, I'll put my earphones and put a beautiful music. So change the track of the mind with something serene, positive or inspirational so that other thoughts will go away. If still they are more bothering, I'll ask for confession, apology and resolution and ask for inner energy. If I have bad thoughts about perverted sensuality, I will go in, ask for apology and ask for inner energy. So body is like a theater, mind is like a film, and I am a spectator. If something is going on the screen which is not like with me, I may close my eyes, have a nice nap, and the scenes will go away. How the mind is born. Who is the father and mother of the mind? A research topic for my younger friends, and holistic science gives you the guiding principle: opinion is the father of mind and language is the mother of mind. So if I want to contain and make good use of my mind, I should be aware of my opinions, where all I have my opinions. And believe me, when I introspected myself, I found that for each and every person, for each and every happening, I had opinions, good or bad, ought to be or ought not to be. So mind control, first step, as I said, you allow or ignore the other thoughts to pass away. Second, keep a track and change the opinions, especially the negative opinions. Third, mind can be contained by true knowledge. Mind always asks me, why to me? Why it happened this way? If the holistic science or the science of life and nature, or with a natural regulatory system and natural laws is known properly, in each event and each happening, it will give me the resolving answer which will keep my mind contained or controlled. The third thing is step back and see. If I'm standing on a seashore, no matter how high the tides and ebb tides are, I will not be worried, I'll enjoy. But if I go inside, I'll be frightened. So when the mind has turmoil and turbulence, step back and see as an observer, and you will be using it very good. After self-realization, one can remain as the knower and seer of the mind. And that's the ultimate aim or ultimate tool of the mind control or the best use of the mind. A word about causal mind, how the causal mind gets born. It's my state of ego-based projections, living as a state of being. See, after this conference or this session is over, the people will have different projections. People will say, oh, it was very good, I should know thoroughly. Some people will say, oh, it was boring, I will not come again. If this state I am signing inside decisively, it will sow the new seed of the causal mind will be born. And beware, it is the causal mind where your free will or relative free will works. Once it is born, it accumulates the atoms and molecules, goes to the natural regulatory system. Once it goes there, you are just the instrument. So it is not mind, but ignorance about the self and ignorance about the mind, which is really binding or liberating, vice versa, with the true knowledge. Reflective consciousness, who roams? It is actually my reflective consciousness which is wandering. Standing here, it can go to my home, it can go to hotel, it can go to a friend's place. And Gnan plus Darshan, knowing and perceiving put together makes the reflective consciousness. So our reflective consciousness most of the time is like this. In all electronic gadgets, even while eating, I am into my electronic gadgets. So what should be my reflective consciousness? The first principle, whatever work I am doing, if I am there, be there, then it is said to be a good meditation. So holistic science says when you are eating, you must eat in presence of reflective consciousness. If your conscious is absent there, you are inviting diseases. The another important thing, yoga teaches me restrain the wandering reflective consciousness, chitta vritti nirodha. But it is really very difficult for me. How do I contain? It is like a child holding a chocolate. So I should give the Kit Kat to get him engaged into Kit Kat and make him leave the chocolate. So if I can make my reflective consciousness taste the superior happiness, and I'm so happy that so many delegates met me yesterday morning before even the proceedings started. They said, oh, we experienced divinity here. We experienced different inside peace here. That's the taste. If it tastes here, I think the journey will be on a correct track. So ultimately, the superior happiness should be made tested and be with the self if you are fortunate enough. And you can be fortunate enough because fortune is in your hand. If your inner projection, hearty decision and desire is to taste the superior happiness of the bliss, yes, I'll conclude within 3-4 minutes. So then the reflective consciousness will return back to home. Intellect, I'm living ego. We must know ego. What is ego? Everybody knows. So existential state of being, I am name bearer, then I'm doctor, I'm senior, whatever, X, Y, Z. But how does ego comes up? Einstein said one upon knowledge. Here, what knowledge? knowledge about my true self, knowledge about how the things are being done, who is doer, less the knowledge, more the ego, more the knowledge, less the ego, correct knowledge, and ego can be dissolved. So positive use of ego, if I want to be happy, I should use my ego to oblige others, to make others happy. If I don't mind unhappiness, I should screw the people, criticize and scold them. If I want permanent happiness, I should try to get rid of ego. All human forms are nothing but different forms of ego. Ignorance of the self, as I said, is the mother of ego. A little subtle science, because there are so many inquisitive cells. Ego is responsible for new karmic bonds. I'm not going into detail deliberately, just making a statement. Beliefs, whole life is nothing but bundle of beliefs, and psychological as well as physiological effects arising out of the beliefs. Incorrect and correct beliefs, we have beliefs about everything. Ownership beliefs. If I believe that this is my car and see, there was a very humorous example. Once the two friends were out for the journey and the phone call came that your so-and-so house is on fire. The other fellow was smiling. So the friend started feeling, has he gone mad? So no, I have sold it before 1 week. With one piece of paper, my ownership is gone. So this is what the Gnani Purush wants us to realize, that it is the ownership or attachment beliefs, correct and incorrect beliefs, and ultimate is the belief about my state of being. Opinions. Opinion first affects me before affecting others. Positive will give me positive and negative will give me negative. So the holistic science gave some simple visions like open happiness shop, avoid classes, which Sunil Parekh is going to dwell more on the next session. And who am I? The last one, all of us should aspire to know about the correct belief about the who am I. And if we want to know, then we have to separate I and my, all the things falling under my, including my mind, my speech, my body, my feelings, my karma, including my ego. If it is put on one side, what remains is I, which Shankaracharya also said. Dada Bhagwan put it in the simple way. And all the happenings are in the part of my. The knower and seer is different. If I know the knower, I have known everything. Doer and knower will always be separate. This is a science which I am living, and I am not touching upon the part of Pratisthit Atman and pure self because the bell has already rung. But in whatever given time, I have tried to take you to the wonderful yet simple, practical, useful journey of the inner world, where there are so many novel truths, so many revealing yet simple understandings, which will take us from the gray area, stations of confusion, to the stations of clarity, stations of stress and clash, to the stations of happiness, harmony, and ultimate bliss. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sir, Dr. Saab, thank you very much. Dr. Swami Shailesh Anandji. Thank you very much. It was very enlightening and very simplified way you have explained the philosophy of Dada Bhagwan. All the 3 papers of this morning session we have gone through. Now the session is open for the question and query. Please. Mic. Cordless mic. Mic. Please.
Let me congratulate all these speakers. They have deliberated very nicely. But my question goes to the last speaker, who has just very nice presentation. Not only it was the nice presentation, rather it percolated in our mind. But I have only one query, rather question, whatever it is. What is the difference between mind and the brain?
A very wonderful question, and I enjoy answering it. Mind is a most subtle entity where the things arise out of my correct or incorrect understanding. Really, it is not only mind, but parliamentary system, but we label it as mind. Brain is the medium to enact those instructions. So mind is the primary seat, brain is an instrument to carry the informations to action, speech and other things. So neuroscientists are trying to research this. They are trying to stimulate some points, whether I have the experience of love, I have the experience of anger. But our rishis and enlightened ones say, no, the primary seat is in the mind, and the brain is a sthula one, which is the transmitting medium to transmit it through the neural system, through the hormonal system, through the other systems to connect to the body. I hope I am clear and short, because I would like to keep short and specific in this session. Thank you very much.
My question is related to Professor Lee. Two questions is basically from your presentation, which knocked in my mind. The presentation is very nice. However, it's also arising in my mind about the concept of your dream, losing of your wallet. Is it really a dream? Because in Freudian concept, because in your awakening period, in your daily life, you are losing your wallet, and you are realizing, is it really a dream or not? Then we will have to define the concept of dreaming some other ways, not in Freudian concept. This is related. The second question is related to that abundance of material life. You have laid much more emphasis on it. But how is it possible if anybody is very much conscious about attaining of liberation or nirvana in the phenomenal life? In Hinduism there is the Jivana Mukti and Videha Mukti. But in Buddhism, basically, we laid emphasis much more emphasis on it, how nirvana is possible in relinquishing fully material life. Because you have to attain nirvana in your material life, not after death. And everything is momentary. If everything is momentary, how will you dignity yourself? This is related to your point.
This is again to Professor Lee. It was a very interesting paper. Considering the problem of suffering, there are three kinds of issues we always face. Number one, can there be suffering of which we are not aware of? Okay? In other words, can I have pain of which I am not aware of? Number one. Number two, there are certain kinds of sufferings. For example, the common thing is with the psychotherapists, if you know that there is suffering, that is the absence of suffering. The moment you realize something is bothering you and suddenly there is no cure, we suffer because we don't know that there is suffering. That is the second thing. Third thing is, when there is suffering, if we know the cause of suffering, that is ordinarily, then we can remove the cause of suffering, that is the typical Buddhist thing. But the first two things are a lot more problematic. Okay? Where do you stand on all these issues? In other words, is there suffering in the world of which we are not aware of? Or is there suffering in the world, by realizing which we can get rid of? Or there is suffering in the world, and if only we can find out the causes of those suffering, we can remove the suffering. Okay?
My comment is directed to Dr. Shailesh. Your metaphor on opinion as the father and language as the mother of mind, the subtle and clear distinction has not been brought out by you, in my opinion, although these are very important, but that explication is required. And your comment, please.
Thank you. So, yeah.
I'm Prem Kumar from Bangalore. It's a question to the first speaker. Like the suffering is beautifully explained with clear text, no confusion. Great. It is like the caterpillar which turns around, and it calls it suffering, but it is an evolution. It's a process of evolution. My question is there any way, without suffering, there is the turning point, the evolution doesn't happen, or is suffering is a must?
I think there is no life without suffering.
It is needed. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. So all the questions, Professor Lee, would you like to answer, sir? Yeah. So one more. Yeah, please. Yeah.
Mr. Lee, you have given very good lecture. I have a few questions for you. As you said, suffering is a part, gunas of body. Then why there is no suffering to body after death? That is my first question. You said, woke up from dream gives you everything. Does this life is not dream? Meant to be dream to achieve nirvana? That is my second question. You explained ashram dharmas very well. Ashram dharmas are meant for drawing conclusions from experiences in life. If conclusions are drawn, only then next two stages, last two stages, will yield or leads us towards liberation to us. That is what I understand. Okay, thank you very much.
Any other question? Please. Mic दीजिएगा.
My query is to Dr. Duck from Vietnam. So he has spoken about body and mind in Buddhism, and of course he has made a very nice explanation. But so far as this Chinese philosophy is concerned, there is no dualism between body and mind. And in Chinese philosophy, both in Confucianism and Taoism, so importance is given to both body and mind. And there is one very important thing called, of course it's not thing, it's difficult to translate in English. They call it ki, QI. And so it is said that ki is present in both body and mind, and it can be cultivated. But it appears that in Buddhism there is no reference to such type of energy or this ki, and it appears that Buddhism is not interested in ki at all. So what is your standpoint between these two perspectives? What would be your standpoint? Whether there is no importance at all to body and mind in your standpoint, from your Buddhist standpoint? This is my query.
Thank you, sir. Any other question? Yeah, Jigyasa. That young scholar is there. Yeah. Yes, yes, mic is reaching you. Huh?
My question to Swamiji, that as you stated that belief is nothing just a bundle of psychophysical effects, then how could you justify our own intuitive experience as a real belief? Thank you.
Right, sir? Okay. Would you like to answer, sir? That young scholar has asked you, Dr. Shailesh Anandji. Yeah. The other questions and their answers, our chair and co-chair will take care of it. Don't bother.
So very good question. So because my time was limited, I was just passing on showing the important flags, but I'm glad that you brought it out. So I said life is a bundle of beliefs and effects arising out of beliefs, psychological as well as physiological, means body levels. Now, having said that, there are two types of beliefs. I think her name is Jignasha, right? Am I right? Broadly speaking, beliefs about the relative things and relative happenings, all I said is part of my and circumstantial, which will give me relative happiness and unhappiness and other things, and belief about the permanent or who am I. So as long as I am on a relative plane, I am name bearer and I am Shailesh, the beliefs I am harboring and at each walks will give me the relative effects, pain and pleasures, which we say happiness and unhappiness. No sooner my inquiry turns inside, who am I? And believe me, belief is not only a word, it carries the conscious and powers and state of being, everything with it. So the enlightened one says that I am name bearer is correct by the relative viewpoint, but to believe by conviction is a wrong belief. But when my inquiry turns inside, what is my true state? What is my permanent state? As who is the knower or seer? We say I slept, then who knew that I slept? So there is a knower, which is a permanent. So when it turns inside, it becomes the inquiry into the ultimate belief, and if I'm fortunate or graced by someone experience, then I'll have the belief about my true self of being. So the intuitive things which you are saying is, till I reach the state of knowing the real and then trying to be in the real, all my journey is evolution in relative phases. It's a big evolution. The whole mankind is in phases of evolution. As the beliefs evolve, the mankind evolves. So belief is a measure of evolution as well as associated with the language. And ultimately, trying to find who am I. So intuition is a kind of darshan, I would say. But one is tasting how far it stands the taste of circumstances, whether it leads to happiness, unhappiness. So continuously we are changing it till we reach a state where we find the permanent belief. I hope I have clarified your answer. Am I? Or do you want to ask me anything else?
It's okay.
Okay. If anything else, we can talk over a tea or a high tea, and you all are welcome. And as I said, we have kept a round table on a 6th, and there is one round table on a 7th, and Dr. Paneer Selvam will be with us. There are handouts given to you. This is specifically meant to answer such queries. In fact, the holistic scientists and all the enlightened ones say that the true knowledge transfers only by questions and answers or true inquiries to the level possible. Thank you very much. And the question raised about the opinion, right? Exactly what do you want to know, sir? Tell me. Yeah. Please have the mic.
Distinction. These are very important and very
distinction
difficult
about
area.
Distinction about what?
Your metaphor on the opinion as the father and language as the mother of the mind.
Yes.
Mother of the mind.
Yes.
So in these are very difficult area, and
yes.
by giving this metaphor, you have not brought out the clear distinction, subtle distinction.
No, I agree. I agree. That is what I said, that in a given time, actually out of 20 minutes, I have used 18 and a half, just from the humorous side. So I just mentioned or raised your inquisitiveness. This is a finding given by my master, Dada Bhagwan, who in his divine, absolute knowing, seeing, vision, saw how the mind gets born. So one is, and when I start introspecting myself, as I said, I have opinion for everything. We'll go to food court and we'll say, oh, food is good. No, food is bad. No sooner I express my opinion, similarly I say, oh, he's a straightforward. No, he's not a good guy. So about each and everything, there is a duality. And when I express the opinion, my conscious, reflective conscious, believed consciousness or pratishthitatma, not the pure consciousness, gets into it, it attracts the atoms and molecules, and as long as it is not expressed, it is within me, it will not attract or but once it is expressed, and if I don't clear it off immediately, then the atoms and molecules from outside are getting attracted, they are getting imprinted like an electromagnet, and the new causal body gets formed. If you want to go still subtle, this duality based opinions on my prevalent understanding, coupled with my state of being where I sign, ought to be, ought not to be, should be, should not be, good, good, bad, and making into a bhav or a projection, is the real birthplace of the causal mind. But to explain it simply, the master said that opinion is the, you can enjoy throughout the world, he said. But if you remain free of opinions, don't give any opinion. Humorously, he had given us one example. Once he took us to Abu, we were very young boys and we were to go to various places. He said us one sentence, we have right to observe everything in the museum, but we cannot take anything from the museum. So we started wondering, what does he mean to say? And in the evening he explained, see, know everything, but no sooner you give opinion, you have taken the thing from the museum to your mind and to your insight. Don't do that. You have all the right to move and enjoy and observe the museum. I hope I am more clear, or if still there is remaining, we'll talk personally, okay? So this is in general what I can bring in a given short time. See, each topic is worth a conference. Each sentence is worth a research, but whatever we can bring out in a short time. Please.
You would like to answer? Yeah.
Yeah, please. Please.
Thank you, sir, for your queries. Actually, Swamiji is sitting here. You have talked about mind. So I will just want to quote one, just quotation from the Upanishad. It is Kathopanishad. I think it is very common for the students, those who are sitting here. So it is said, Manaha pragraha me vacha. Pragraha means, graha. Graha means, you understand, just to stretch, attract. And pragraha, prakrishtena grahayati pragraha. Just, so what is the function of mind? It is there in the Kathopanishad, because we all are related to Indian philosophy, Sanskrit, all these things. So if you analyze this particular word, manaha pragraha me vacha. This is the clarification of mana as stated in the Kathopanishad, which is, is a philosophical Upanishad. Upanishads are all philosophical. So, and again one, he has quoted, mano eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. So these two statements, it is from the Bhagavad Gita and this is from the Kathopanishad. So this is very clear that mind is the function. We have to attract something towards what we think, we have to attract. What we don't think, we should forget it. So this is the function of mind. And one more mantra, I quote it from the Veda. Chandrama manaso jata. So this is the thing. Chandrama, the mind is there also. So if you analyze the Vedic mantras, the Upanishadic mantras or the verses, then finally we will come to the conclusion, then what is the function of mind? Because English people, but English we can analyze in different way, that is chitta buddhi and ahankara. Chitta buddhi and ahankara, that is in yoga chitta vritti nirodha. So that is the chitta. Chitta means this is mind, buddhi and ahankara, ego. So these three things combined in chitta. In that sense, it is also same. So I am talking about the point of view of Sanskrit, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, and Rig Veda. So in that point of view, mind means which has a function to attract the things towards you and disattract the things from you. So this is the pragraha. So this is the definition of.
Thank you, Dr. Panda. Thank you very much. Sir, 1 minute. Dr. Shailesh Anandji, I think you will answer even later on, and I will request Professor Bhatt, because Professor Bhatt's mind was working in that way. I was seeing, sir, your face. And we have, 1 minute, we have, sir, the answer of these questions. Chidyate hridaya granthi, vidyante sarva sanshayah, tasmin drishte paravareti. The manaha, evam. So anyhow, just it is my, sir, request, if you give some comment, sir, for after Dr. Thich Chem is over. Please, 1 minute, sir. Yeah, please.
Okay.
Answer.
So relation to the question about key eye, it is a relation to the breath, and it is very important, not mentioned in the Taoism, but very emphasized in the Buddhism. As you know, the Buddha getting enlightenment through the meditation. So after getting enlightenment, the Buddha emphasized when teaching his disciple how to practice meditation. And the Buddha emphasized on the breath in, breath out. For example, through the sutta Anapanasati. Ana means breath in, Pana breathing out. Sati means mindfulness. So Anapanasati means mindfulness in breath in, breath out. It is one of many suttas relation to meditation. And it is this sutta Anapanasati was translated from Sanskrit to Vietnamese, Vietnamese language around the 2nd century AD in Hanoi. You know, in the 2nd century AD, there was a famous Buddhist center near Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam now, about 25 kilometers. There was a famous, and its name là Luy Lâu. Luy Lâu is a famous Buddhist center in the 2nd century AD. And Anapanasati was translated into Vietnamese language at that time. So that is why Buddhism emphasizes on practice, not in theory, but in practice, and emphasize in meditation to help us to realize the real world. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Respected Professor Bhatt. Mic, mic, mic. Sir, please come. Savvam Dukkham.
The concept of manas plays a very significant role in Indian philosophical thought. It has a creative function, as also it has an epistemological function. In its creative function, it brings out all phenomena that we experience. So in the Vedic thought, we find that out of manas, many offshoots come out. But popularly, we take manas in Indian thought in epistemological sense, as a part of antahkarana or as synonymous with the antahkarana. So, through mind or manas, generally we translate manas as mind, well, we come in contact with the external world. In the Nyaya system, for example, we are told that the Atman comes in contact with Manas, Manas comes in contact with the Indriyas, and Indriyas come in contact with the objects. This is the process. This is for the outer world. But in case of the inner world, Atman comes in contact with the Manas, and Manas is self-sufficient to give the information about the inner world. Manas is sometimes distinguished from intellect, and sometimes it is not distinguished from intellect. In Taittiriya Upanishad, for example, when we have Panchakosha theory, then we have Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya and Vijnanamaya. So Mana and Vijnan are distinguished in the Taittiriya Upanishad. But elsewhere we find that Manas has three functions. One is the cognitive, to know the outer world and the inner world. Second one is the affective, all feelings, emotions, sentiments, moods, they are offshoots of the processes of manas. And third is cognitive. It is mana gives rise to desire, ichcha. And Ichha gives rise to prayatna, prayatna gives rise to phala. So the cognitive, affective and conative, these are the four modes of functioning of manasa. But in Vedanta, we have fourfold understanding of antakarana, mana, buddhi, ahankar and chitta. There man has a limited role. The point therefore is that we have different understandings of the functioning of manas. In Nyaya system, manas is given a status of an independent substance. In other systems, it's not an independent substance, it's only a mode of functioning. But a substantival character is given to manasa. The point therefore is that we have different conceptions of this concept of manas. And depending upon the context, we have to understand what exactly we mean when we use the word manas. Thank you.
This is said, vade vade jayate tattva bodha. The interaction and the exchange of thoughts that gives tattva bodha, sadhu. One urgent announcement. One mobile is lost, Samsung mobile. It belongs to Dr. C. and Mishra ji. So whosoever has got it, please give it to him. Yeah, you got it. Yes. Sadyah prapti. Lost and regained. Okay, thank you very much. One more announcement. Yeah, 1 minute. You have to answer. Okay, please, please.
Sir, there were so many questions to my speech, and thank you for the questions, all the questions. But to my mind, there are some questions which are not to be answered. Question itself has meaning. But I would like to say that, first of all, without a living body, there cannot be any spiritual enhancement in our life. It is my mind. So, if anybody don't want to suffering, just he can abandon his body, then suffering will be solved. So, after that, there is no spiritual enhancement. So, and then just one more question was from you. What was your question? Dreams.
Losing of your wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really a dream? Or
Yes.
A second was momentary.
It was my real dream.
And it was so nicely explained with the material life and spiritual life. That's very nice.
Okay, thank you.
जागीने जोवु तो जगत दीशे नहीं, पूज्य दादा कनु दादा, जागीने जोवु तो जगत दीशे नहीं, ऊंघ मा अटपटा भोग भासे. Dr. Shailesh Anandji has explained the mind medically and according to the medical science, and Professor Bhatt has explained it spiritually. So I think it is clear. So before I invite comments from co-chair and chair, one announcement that after this session and between the two sessions we have tea break. Before tea break, the delegates of APC, they should stay back for a group photo. And the other people can go. The office bearers and delegates and all scholars, they have group photo on the stage. So please keep in mind. The other delegates who are Indian Philosophical Conference, they can move out. Thank you very much. Now I invite our co-chair, Professor Jatashankarji, for his special comments.
Time allotted to me, Dr. Sagar. What time is allotted?
Sir, you are Mahakala. Jatashankar is Mahakala, Kala. So there is no limit, sir.
Thank you. And with permission of the chair of this session, I would like to make some brief comments. Though the final position has been expressed by Professor Bhatt, because most of, rather all the papers were concerned with our inner journey and what is function of that inward journey, what is function of manas. It has been very beautifully described by Professor Bhatt in Nyaya and Vedantic tradition. But still, I have been given some duty to perform. Therefore, I will make some brief comments on those papers presented by the learned scholars. The first speaker, Professor Lee, he spoke very well how to discover the inner world. And when he was speaking on the Buddhist perspective of this, when he started in the beginning, the Buddhist perspective of this experience of suffering and overall human experience, I went 40 years back to my classroom when Professor S.S. Roy, he taught us Buddha has blackened the white and darkened the black. This was his sentence. He used this sentence that even the pleasure, we understand it is pleasure, that is also a kind of suffering, and suffering is really a suffering. So, as Professor Lee says, entire life is suffering, and suffering is a necessary condition. That is how he replied to a question. And yes, the example of dream, his own experience, it was a beautiful explanation of how things appear and such appearances are not real. Hindi poet, Sant Tulsidas, he has written a doha, Sapne hohi bhikhari nar, rank naak pati hohi, jage hani na labh kachu, timi prapanch jag so. This world is a prapanch. There is no profit and there is no loss. Both loss and profit, these experiences are just prapancha, like the dream when Professor Lee lost his wallet and again he recovered it, like the mobile phone of the professor. The second speaker, Dr. Duck, he has beautifully explained his view, his position, and he has also responded to some questions which were remaining to be clarified. And when he was speaking on the Buddhist perspective, a shloka of Bhagavad Gita was running in my manas patal. Vashehi yasyendriyani tasya pragya pratisthita. So this inward journey is like to control our outward senses, and that is the definition of sthita pragya pratisthita. The third lecture delivered by Swami Shailesanand, Dr. Shailesh Mehta ji, I have heard him many times, and every time he makes my mind more clear on the holistic perspective of philosophizing the life, human life. And today, he has performed both kinds of, both types of his job. He is an eye surgeon. He opened our outer eye as well as the inner eye when the distinction made by him that mind is of two types, gross mind and subtle mind. And there was a question from Dr. Avinash. To my mind also, the immediate reaction was, is this distinction like the distinction between mind and brain? Is gross mind one and same as brain? And if not, how will we distinguish between gross mind and brain? Because our mind, this present mind which is available to me, and as a student of philosophy, has been badly influenced by the Cartesian distinction between mind and body. One is gross and the other is subtle. One is conscious and the other is unconscious. One is extended and the other is unextended. So can gross be unextended? And if it is extended, how is it different from the brain? And for that purpose, Descartes needs a pineal gland to connect the two, brain and mind. So I will discuss with him this issue over tea. There were many good questions, and the speakers have well responded to those questions. But one question by Professor Ramarao Pappu, he raised very, very good questions. Is the experience of suffering with awareness or without awareness? But sir, as I think, I don't know what would be the response, how will Professor Lee respond to this question. But I think there cannot be an experience of suffering without awareness of suffering. And we are aware that we are suffering, only then we can say that this is, life is suffering, or I am suffering from so and so. And this question raised by Professor Pappu, it is like the question raised in a dialogue, but a dialogue which is quoted in many books. I don't remember exactly the name of that dialogue, but Socrates and Protarchus, they are two partners. And ultimately, this dialogue reaches to the point when Socrates asks him, well, you want only happiness, only pleasure. Would you not like the consciousness of that pleasure? And if at all you would like the consciousness of that pleasure, then pleasure is not only thing, only object of desire. That is how that dialogue concluded. So this was a beautiful question, and it came to my mind, and I just mentioned in a few lines. I thank the organizers, because I am a what to say, substitute substitute of Professor Rajneesh Shukla ji, who is not well. So I had to perform the duties allotted to Dr. Rajneesh Shukla. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Jatashankar ji. And now, one announcement. Some publications are being distributed on complementary basis by ICPR and IPC. So, the people who wants to have that publication, they should go to the counter and they can collect it. This is on first come first basis. Thank you very much. And now I request our Honorable Chair to give his special comments.
Narayan, after Professor Jadashankar's very good summing up, I really don't think there's anything for me to say, except that it's been very nice of you all to have me here. And I really enjoyed what I've heard today. Professor Lee's emphasis on Sarvam Dukkam Vivekina. That was also very interesting, and how his unhappiness, his suffering ended when he came out of the dream. So, I have known a person also who, he woke up from a dream in which he was very happy, and he insisted on going back to sleep. He said, no, I want to complete the dream. So, there are people like that also who want to live in a dream world and who want to enjoy the dream. But ultimately it is where we leave the world. And Venerable Bhikkhu also, he has told us very well in a very traditional manner about how this inner journey should be taken by meditation, and how that inner space can be explored by us. So it is, the outer worlds are all being explored. Similarly, the inner worlds also must be explored. And Swami Shailesh was very interesting as usual, as always. But he had so much to say and he didn't get enough time to say it. And there were so many points, so unfortunately he couldn't cover any of them in a manner which would have been nice for us to hear. And really, I think he should be given 3 or 4 hours when he talks next time. So, the whole thing is that, where do we go from here? We are going inside to the mind, and we have understood how suffering is caused by the mind, how Professor Lee has told us about suffering and the mind. But the whole thing is, without the mind being in our control, there is unhappiness. When the mind is in our control, then there's peace. And when we are peaceful, automatically we are happy. So there is something which happened to me about 5 years ago, which was very interesting. I was visiting Bangalore, and I had 3 places to speak with in the morning and 2 places in the evening. So when in between the first and the second in the evening talks, I visited a devotee's house. So he said, I'm very happy that you've come, but you're not going to talk with us. So I said, why? He said, there's a room kept for you, you got to go there and lie down. You got to rest. So in the morning, a lady had given me a book to give Sadhguru. It was in an orange bag. And I told one of the people who were with us to keep it, and I couldn't remember who I gave it to. So when they put me in the room and closed the door and said, you're going to rest, I lay down there, and my mind went on to, has that book come? Is the book with me? Because they took away my phone, so I couldn't phone them and ask, is the book in the car? So then I was wondering what happened to that book. It's a book kept for Sadhguru, and I must go and give it to Sadhguru. And then I just said, this is a time when I have to rest. This is not time I cannot do anything about it. Whether the book is in the car or whether the book is left in the previous place where I spoke, I don't know, and I can't do anything about it. So what I did is I just took that thought, the worry about the book, and put it at Sadhguru's feet and said, I'm not going to think about it. That minute that renunciation happened and I was able to drop into sleep, I slept for a correct 15 minutes, they called me, I was very refreshed. So that is the main thing. Suffering is there. It's always going to be a companion with us because we are going to have hopes, it's going to get disappointed. We are going to have desires, not all of them are going to be fulfilled. There's always going to be something like that. So, like Rishi has said, Sarvam Dukkam Vivekina. Everything which is there has a seed of unhappiness in it. So the only way we can do it is we cannot run away from life also. Even a person who renounces the world has to live to an extent in the world and function. I think because you will agree with me, we have to function in the world. So the only thing is to consciously, when the mind goes into ignorance, we have to pull it out and put it at God's feet. Or pull it out and surrender it to God. So that is the only thing. Because while we are discussing all these philosophical concepts also, we need to also find the key to get out of these difficulties. And this I suggest as one key. I mean, I'm sure that all the philosophers here will have their own ideas as to how it can be. So I humbly place this before you all. Shri Sadguru Arpanamastu, Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you, Swamiji. Thanks a lot. And now this session is over, and we have tea break actually by 11:45 to 12 o'clock.